Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Real Way. Real stories of real people in a real community working to serve Christ in a real way. My name is Brandon Morell, the Director of Youth Evangelization and Digital Ministry here at St. Thomas Aquinas and Our Lady Help of Christians. And today we're back at Our Lady Help of Christians with Gifta.
Hi, Brandon.
How you doing, Gifta? Okay. Introduce yourself, let people know, your role and how that works here.
Okay, my name is Laurency Gifta Evans. I'm from the island of St. Lucia. I have a family of 4, six, I'd say, my husband included, and one grandchild and a son-in-law.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice. So help people kind of give context. What do you, I didn't even know your first name. I didn't even know that was your full name. I just knew you was Gifta. Everybody knows Gifta.
Yep. Laurency Gifta Evans.
Gotcha. So what do you do here? Just, for context for few.
Okay, I'm a cook at St. Thomas Aquinas and Our Lady of Christians, Help of Christians. I have worked at St. Thomas for 7 years, and during the time of COVID, or right after COVID, I started here. So, and it's been a whirlwind experience for me.
Right. So I think there's a few people that have a little bit more of a unique role, right? Because they're in both places. Myself, you, it is. So let's walk us through that. Talk a little bit about kind of both communities because you're connected to both.
Okay. Well, at St. Thomas, I don't remember the year I started exactly, but the job actually came to me.
Okay.
I was recovering from cancer, breast cancer, and I also got into an accident at the time, so I didn't feel like I was capable of doing the job because of standing and all of that. But I had done a little cooking for Father Kiram, which I met during the time of when Monsignor Brown died.
Okay.
And so I went for counseling with him. And after a few times, he said to me, do you cook? And I'm like, yeah, what do you mean? I'm a Caribbean woman. We all know how to cook, right? So
Right.
he said, oh, well, I just moved to the parish and I wanted to do lunch with my staff for his birthday. So do I think I could do that? I'm like, sure. I took on the challenge. I did it. I brought it. Well, I didn't know their kitchen, so I did the stuff at home. I brought in everything. My table, plates, everything. Tablecloth, plates, forks, all my utensils needed to make it an experience for them. And after that, Father, he called and he said, Father Drain want to speak to you. So I said, about what? He said, we're looking for a cook. So I said, oh, no, that's not for me. The only time I cook is for Thanksgiving and the holidays, right? So no, I can't do that. Besides, I had this stand. So I met Father Jimmy Monday after church, and he said, I need to talk to you. Do you mind giving me a minute? So we spoke. I still said no. He said, keep the church. Think about it and come and see me on Monday. So I did just that, and I went to see him, still insisting that I can't do it. I thought I'd give him the courtesy of letting him know and telling him down gracefully that I would not be able to do it. But his persistence. You can't get away from Father Dwayne when he wants something. So eventually I agreed to do it. And that started the journey with her.
Wow. No, that's good to know. I mean, I didn't know that story, but I'm sure there's a lot of people. One of the reasons why we started doing this is sometimes we see people, right? And we're like, okay, I saw you at Mass. I saw you at this event. But do I know the depth of the story? Yeah.
So that meal actually they enjoyed the meal that much that it gave me that job. And that's how this job started.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So that started that. Let's walk backwards a little bit, right? Because we are a Catholic community and our faith is important to us. So walk us through your own faith journey.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, when I lived in the Bronx.
Okay.
When I first came here, and I moved to Brooklyn when I had started my family. My husband and I, when we got married, I moved to Brooklyn. I have been going to St. Thomas, and I was in regular. So I was where I was in between my faith and my practices. Sometimes the Jehovah's Witness would come over. One year they started a Bible study. It never moved me. I never felt anything until I said to them, no, this is not working. And it's hard of giving me that thing to say, you need to get back to church seriously and stop listening to all of these people. So I started to go. I started having my family as well. But when I went, the children were a distraction. So it was, you spend more time trying to correct them and behave and be quiet than you listening, you know. So I decided to go to church at 8 a.m. and go at 11:30 with them. It may have been 11:30 or 12:30 because at that time there was a 12:30 mass.
Okay.
So I would take them. Sometimes we went into the chapel, you know, where it's the Monsignor Hall.
Right.
You know,
Right.
right. So it's just like that. And I went to church and I started my journey with God. I would go during the week whenever I had a chance. And I just was drawn back to church that I didn't want to miss a Sunday. And I didn't want my children to grow up not knowing God. So I knew I had to be the example for now. And so I started going. I went alone and then I went together as a family. So I ended up going to church twice a day on a Sunday. And that's how I did it. So I got my time and their time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So, okay, there's something you said. You said back to church. So then let's go even before that, right? Because that assumes, I know your story a little bit, but for people that don't know, you grew up Catholic.
Yes.
So tell us.
And I remain Catholic. But what happened when I migrated to the United States? It's not like back home, the churches are right there. Everybody walked to church or whatever. And for me, it wasn't that close. So I didn't go as frequently and I wasn't as active because back home I was a lector. And I came here and I just was blending and didn't go every time. And it's just cold, you know, as I'm from the tropics. This is winter here. To get up on a Sunday morning and go to church was hard at times. So I didn't always go. But like I said, when I moved and I started to have my family and the Jehovah's Witnesses sort of really did help me go back to church, believe it or not, frequently. Because they were relentless. They would come. And they always had something. Even when you say no, they're persistent. And I'm like, no, I didn't like this stuff. It didn't impress me. It didn't awaken anything in me. So I knew it was they weren't the right set of people for me. And actually, one of the things I left out was I had a dream.
Okay.
One time, and they were the ones coming and tell me I just saw somebody came and like we came to get you to. And I'm like, where to? Oh, we just come. I said, no, I'm not going with you. And they started, let's go. And the person in the dream started kind of grabbing me to take me with him. And I just shouted out Jesus' name. Jesus, help me. Right? And I just felt like the skies open and I got released from whatever it was. So that kind of scared me a little bit. And after that, the other little incident that happened that really made me know that I had to get back to my faith and get back into being serious about going to church. You know, so sometimes you see people go about their business and maybe they do want to come, but they just need a little nudge, something to help you come.
Right.
And that was my nudge. And I'm thankful for that dream, believe it or not. Yeah.
Well, there's a few things I'm hearing, right? So it's interesting. You said the persistence of the Jehovah's Witnesses, and the persistence of Father Dwayne.
Yes, yeah.
But there's also, like, I think a power in us continue, and it's one of the things we can learn from Jehovah's Witnesses, the Mormons, a lot of evangelicals, right? Is there is a sense that they want to share their faith, right?
Yes.
And I think there's something we can learn from that as Catholic, right?
Yes.
You know, we should be constantly inviting people, constantly. If we love Jesus in the Eucharist, are we inviting people consistently to that? So, yeah, that's a powerful moment.
Well, now that you say that, I remember when the dynamic Catholics came to our parish.
Right.
They gave out cards, and they said, you know, those cards, and they said, we could give it to anybody. And they were talking about being bold about your faith. So that was one of the things that struck me. So there was a time I went to DMV to renew my license, and I was in the bench, and I'm sitting there for a long time, and there was this woman there with some children and some other people, and I'm like, I have those cards in my bag. Why don't I offer it to her? So I offered it to her. She said, oh, thank you. I didn't know about it. And I sat telling her, well, you know, there's a Catholic church. I don't know where you're from, but if you look it up, I'm sure you will find a Catholic church near you that you may go to if you're interested. And she said, thank you. And I took those cards and I went boldly to every seat and put one there. Yeah. And that was a thing I would have never done at all. Now, raising my hands up in the air, that was something that would take me, I'd be like embarrassed, you know. So, but in some experiences, I went to my brother's church and I'm like, he's a CCC, Christian Culture something.
Yeah. For Ross Cultural Center.
Yeah,
knew that.
we would go with him sometimes, and everybody's up in their hands, up in the air and praising, and nobody seemed to care. So that sort of struck me too, and I'm like, see how they're praising God? They don't care who's looking. So why can't you do the same? Our parish, in our faith culture, we don't do that. But why not? Why, if we had gone to a concert and we enjoyed the concert, we'd be all over the place dancing and moving and swaying. So why not do that?
Right.
And I started doing it. And then even my kids, oh, mommy, you're embarrassing us. So like, I would explain to them why you should do this. I said they should never be afraid of when you're serving God and to be happy about doing it. So this is my thing. And one day you'll understand why it is necessary to do it. Because even if you explain it to them, a lot of those kids, oh, the church is boring. This is this. You try to explain it, but they're in their thing now where they don't quite understand the importance of their faith.
Right.
You know, so we have to just do things to show them, so they could guide them and lead them back, whatever they feel. In fact, my kids are still coming to church, and they're in their 30s. They come on Sundays. But they still have their little things about the church and whether the church is boring, the songs is thing. They don't do anything for our group of children, you know. So they're youth, and they think the songs and the music is not appealing enough to. So that's one of the things the church probably needs to look at.
So no, and I mean, I know that particularly with St. Thomas and Our Lady, but specifically St. Thomas, there is an effort really specifically to engage our young people. I mean, it's part of the reason our role.
Yeah.
But what would you say you think is special about this community, both St. Thomas and Our Lady? And there's probably differences between the two, but what would you say?
Okay, I've always loved all the priests that have been in our parish. I have to say Father Gopal or Father Doyle or Monsignor Brown. Well, Monsignor Brown is, I still have his picture on our screen.
Okay.
Computer screen, because we took pictures of it. And all the priests at the Father Clifford, Father, what's his name? Kieran, Father Peter, a whole bunch of them. But when Father came in, Father Dwayne, young as he is, a young person, this is just thrown at him. He's just starting the priesthood, and he's able to do all of those things, and he's not saying no to any of them. I think the staff too, we are together the way we are because of what he brings to it. You know, so everybody's close, and very seldom do you find staff really getting along. And I feel in our parish, we get along at both parishes, St. Thomas and Our Lady. All of us, the staff, get along. We like each other. Literally like each other.
Well, the priest, that's a big one. And yeah, community, yeah, definitely. And the leadership. Your leadership is big too. Yeah. Anything else?
Of course. It's always a lot. I really do enjoy cooking in the priest. It doesn't feel like a chore. Of course, some days you feel like it, but most of the time it's a pleasure to make them, because I think of their lives that they gave up for us, to give up their homes, their families, to be there to serve us, to shepherd us. And for me, I have been shepherded so many times in the priest. Every problem that I have, I bring it to them. I agree to Father Jane. I have cried in Father Jane's arms, and he has given me tissues to admire. So, you know, and he's always there. He's always saying yes, and he's always understanding. We have our disagreements at times, of course, but most of the time, it is just really nice, just being at St. Thomas, cooking with them, cooking for them, you know, and I don't always do the food right. I'll tell you, sometimes I mess up, but I always get them to, they still eat it. Especially Father Joseph, I used to say, Gifta, you're the best. It's always you're the best. So they make you feel good too, that you're bringing that to them, you know. And so it gives you that thing to want to do better every time, to want to make them happy when you do that meal, to see them and hear them talk, you know, and get together. It's a really pleasure for me doing this, you know.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, any final thoughts, right? I think you shared a lot And I think it helps people, one, get to know you a little better, but also gets to know kind of the beauty in this community. Any final things you think? I like to call them our real way takeaways, right? Because we call this the real way for a reason, right? One, because Father Dwayne says the real way in a very real way a lot, but also because sometimes our faith, we think of it as something that's distant. How can we make it practical and make it real in our lives?
I think it's to get involved in things in the church. Another thing I think is to get to know your parishioners. Don't just walk off at the church as soon as church is over. Stay back. Maybe say a little prayer. Get to meet somebody. Say hello. Introduce yourself. And I find that's very important because but I mostly go to the 11:30 Mass. And I could almost say I know almost every parishioner there. I may not know all of their names, but I know a lot of them. And I say hello. I make it my business to say hello and to get to know them. Sometimes we get to talk. And it's only when you get to talk that you know. Our church, I come here sometimes, so I'm figuring when I want to come to the Mass. So sometimes I come here on a Sunday, and it's just to say, it's nice. Just mainly older people you see there, but you see the few young people that are involved. So you see them ushers, you see those who are taking the communion and all that. They're very involved, the group of people that are here, So it's nice to build on these things so that they too could be the leaders for the younger ones that are coming.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
So we thank you guys for watching, and I hope y'all take away wherever you are, whether you're somebody that's a part of our community, somebody who stumbles onto this from afar, share your faith, be bold in your faith, and get to know everybody in your parish community. See y'all next one.
Okay.